Hello everyone, welcome to Epic Histories. My name is Kathleen Barker. I'm the Education Coordinator for the National Council for History Education, or NCHE, and we are pleased to present you with this opportunity in conjunction with our friends at Wayne Risa. So in this brief overview, I will tell you a little bit more about Epic Histories and NCHE. I'll go over the professional development opportunities for this winter and spring, including our trip to DC. I'll talk about our Canvas site, evaluation, and then of course payment, so you'll know when and how to receive your stipends. So if you're new to NCHE, I'll just say we were founded in 1990 to advocate for the importance specifically of history education. We're now a great community of K-16 history educators, and we're pleased that you will now be part of that community. In addition to programs like these, we host an annual conference. This year's conference is coming up in March in Salt Lake City. We do have a bit of funding to help participants in Epic History attend the conference, although we do realize that this year the conference falls at what is the beginning of spring break for many of you in your districts. So we know this year's conference might be difficult, but we'll be in Cleveland in March of 2024 and St. Louis in March of 2025. In terms of professional development, some of you might have participated in some of our other opportunities through either Teaching American History grants many years ago or Library of Congress TPS programs more recently. We have a monthly newsletter. We also have a state council here in Michigan that's very active and presents a number of programs each year. We also offer a monthly History Matters newsletter, which you will now be receiving as part of this project. So Epic Histories, again brought to you by NCHE and Wayne Risa, has been funded by the Federal Department of Education. It's part of a project called Presidential and Congressional Academies for American History and Civics. This is a 3-year grant, and we hope you will consider joining us for all 3 years. We can serve up to 55 educators through this grant, primarily in grades 3 through 12, and the grant was designed to serve teachers in southeastern Michigan. This year we'll be offering, I believe it's 75 hours of PD training, but somewhere between 70 and 80 hours per year. The goals of our program include expanding the American narrative and bringing you primary sources and stories of diverse voices and voices that are often underrepresented in the curriculum, emphasizing discipline-specific literacy and literacy skills, thinking about the role of civic action and democratic deliberation, but also connecting the past and the present and the future through civic action. So we will do those things through a series of professional development programs. And so I'm going to walk you through the different types of programs we have available through EPIC. Before I talk about specifics, though, I just want you to know, of course, since this is a federally funded program, there are some expectations that accompany the rewards. First is that participants are expected to attend 80% of the scheduled professional development hours. Now, I will say, since this is the first year of our grant, we have a bit of flexibility. In future years, you will be provided with the schedule of events much earlier in the school year, so you'll have time to decide whether or not you can attend and what you can attend. So ideally, we would like you to shoot for attending 80% of the scheduled hours, but we understand that that might not be possible in year one. So we will have some opportunities to make up some, but not all of the hours. If you have conflicts, you can always let me know or let David and Katie know at Wayne Risa. In addition to those expectations, throughout the course of the year, you will be evaluated in 2 different ways. One we'll talk about, which is a pre and post test. The other is through the creation of a lesson plan. And you will have time to create this lesson plan. They won't be due until the summer. But as you're going through programs this year, you might want to think about what topics you could bring back to your classroom through a lesson plan. In terms of rewards, you will receive sketches for almost all of the programs. Due to some timing issues, our first couple programs in January and February are not available for sketches, but you will still receive a stipend for those programs. You will also receive membership in NCHE, as I mentioned. So, programming types. First, we have our Saturday seminars. The first was January 28th at the Henry Ford. Our next in-person Saturday seminar will take place in April 29th, and we anticipate meeting at the Charles H. Wright Museum. And those in-person days will include time with a historian, time with an education specialist and museum educators, and time just to chat about pedagogy and using this new information in the classroom. We also have some virtual programs. We have 4 Author Talk webinars scheduled for this year, and these are programs by scholars who have published new or recently published books. The first of these is coming up on February 16th. We'll talk with Michael Witkin about indigenous land and treaties that affect, in particular, the Great Lakes region. We have a program on March 8th with Stacy Schiff talking about Samuel Adams. April 12th with Serena Zabin talking about the Boston Massacre. And May 11th with Jared Ross Hardesty talking about mutiny on a slave ship in 1754. These author talks are 1 hour long. They will take place from 7:30 to 8:30 on the indicated dates. Now, in addition to those content webinars, we also have some pedagogy webinars. The first pedagogy webinar takes place at the end of February, and you will likely recognize some of the programs that will be delivering these pedagogy programs for us. So on February 27th, we'll have the Stanford History Education Group and Reading Like a Historian. On March 14th, we'll be talking about maps and settler colonialism and Native people with the Leventhal Map Center in Boston. May 18th, we'll have the Choices program talking about racial slavery in the Americas, which will bring in some world history. And on June 6th, you will meet Dr. Craig Friend, who will be guiding us in Washington, D.C., and he'll talk about place-based learning. Now, these programs, these pedagogy-based programs, take place also virtually, but from 4 to 6 p.m. See. Next, we have our summer colloquium. I skipped over Washington, D.C. for a moment. We have our summer colloquium. This will take place in August 1st through 3rd, at a cultural institution in southeastern Michigan. Again, this is in person. We'll combine some historical content with activities, with museum educators. Time again to develop those lesson plans. In particular, we're also looking forward to a visit with Troy Hicks and the Chippewa River Writing Project. So now let's talk about that field excursion to DC, which is scheduled for June 25th through 30th. We plan to visit a number of sites during our time in DC, including a one-day trip to Mount Vernon, several of the Smithsonian museums, Library of Congress, National Archives, the Capitol. It should be lots of fun and also very busy. A few things. We're planning to arrive in Washington, D.C. on the afternoon of Sunday, June 25th, and depart on the evening of Friday, June 30th. So NCHE will book your hotel room. We have a large group, so it will be a double occupancy hotel room. NCHE will also book your airfare if you would like us to. We will only book airfare if you are planning to travel to and from DC with the group. So if you would prefer to make your own reservations, you'd prefer to drive, to take the train, to travel some other way, you are welcome to make those reservations, and NCHE will reimburse you. So we can only book tickets for people who want to travel to and from DC with the group at the same time. You will receive, in addition to the hotel and the airfare or travel fare, you will receive a $650 stipend for attending the program. We will also provide you with a per diem to help offset the cost of some of your meals. I will come back to this trip in a moment because we have a travel survey that we need you to fill out in Canvas. Which brings me to my next slide. All of our course materials will live in Canvas. I know some of you are probably familiar with Canvas, using it in your school district. It will look very similar. Once you have finished watching this video and completed a short Google form, you will receive an invitation to our Canvas site Just be sure to check your email, including your spam or your junk folders, because lots of Canvas invites seem to be ending up there. When you get to Canvas, first let me say some of you might have to sign up for Canvas again, even if you are using it in your school. You might need to create a separate account for NCHE programs. I'm sorry about that, but for some reason, integration isn't happening for everyone. Once you get to Canvas, you will find some very helpful information that you should look at as soon as possible. This is a look at our Canvas page. You will see right at the top, there are some surveys that you need to fill out, as well as a travel survey related to Washington, D.C. So all of these things we would like you to fill out right away in February. In other words, as soon as possible. You will see a section on welcome materials. You'll see a section on welcome materials that includes our overall schedule of professional development programs, a discussion board for introductions, a PDF of this slide deck that you're watching now, and a checklist for participants. And then after that, all of our content is organized by date. So anything, for example, from the January 28th seminar will be here, the slide decks, etc. Now you've noticed these teacher pre-surveys and pre-tests. Of course, because this is a federal grant, there is an evaluation component. Our evaluator, Tom Mills, has created a pre-test for you to take as part of this grant. The pre-test is fairly easy, so we don't want anyone to stress about it. Also, the whole point of the pre and post test is that we demonstrate some growth over the course of the year. So please don't feel compelled to Google answers. Just go in there to Canvas, take that pre-test, and don't think about it. Heads up, you will have to enter your name, but that is just so we know who's completed the test. All of the results will be anonymous. No one at NCHE or Wayne Risa, your school district, will know your test scores, what questions you answered correctly or got wrong, etc. It's all anonymous. Tom just needs to know your name so we know who has taken the test and who hasn't. Stipends. How do you get paid? When do you get paid? So, again, once you've watched this video and completed the Google form, Kathleen, that's me, will provide your name to our accountant at NCHE. You will then receive an email from NCHE Accounting. It will include a DocuSign package with the required paperwork, your W-9, your media release, and your liability waiver. You can complete all of those online and return them electronically. Once you've done that, you're good to get paid. We'll be paying stipends quarterly, so at the end of March, the end of June, and in September. We also use an electronic e-check system, so you'll receive a digital version of a paper check that you can either deposit electronically or print out and deposit as you would a paper check. But you'll receive more info on that as it gets closer. So what to do next? First, once you receive your Canvas invitation, obviously please accept that invitation. Head into Canvas and go to that section on Welcome and Orientation and look for this Epic Histories checklist. This is the first thing you should do. This checklist has all of our activities listed in chronological order. It will tell you everything you need to know, everything you need to do, and when. So all of our programs with registration links will all be there. So accept that Canvas invite, head on in and complete the pre-survey and the pre-test for Tom, our evaluator, by February 15th. Think about your travel plans to Washington, D.C. and complete that travel survey. What I really need to know this month is whether you would like to travel with the group to D.C. so that I know to buy you a ticket, or whether you would like to make your own travel arrangements. That is the point of the travel survey, really. So please do that this month. Head over to the Welcome module. You'll find that Epic checklist. You'll find discussion boards, and you'll find some great materials for January 28th. Questions? Please feel free to contact me, but also know that David Hales and Katie Mock at Wayne Risa are great resources. Please check in with them if you need anything. Also, we have a Facebook page as well as a page on the NCHE website that we will keep updated with more information. Thanks for joining us.